morning. Welcome to the Wealth Studio powered by Corestar Wealth Partners. This is the arena where we unpack financial tips for athletes and entrepreneurs. I'm with Nazir Smith, president and financial advisor, and I'm your host, Rob Bruin. What's going on, Naz? How you feeling?
Feeling pretty good, man. Feeling pretty good. It's a beautiful day.
Beautiful Saturday morning.
Beautiful Saturday morning. I'm excited to be here. I feel like this is a long time coming for my audience. They want to see more of me. They want to hear more of me. And so this is the way I'm gonna do this.
All right, man. As we already know, today's conversation is going to be focused around NIL deals, securing the bag, and we don't want you to fumble it. See the NCAA versus the House news dropped yesterday.
Yes.
That's a big thing.
We went live last night for that. So that was big news for a lot of student athletes of today and student athletes of the past, all the way back until 2016. So yeah, man, it's breaking news.
So even, pushing the conversation forward with that, a lot of athletes are going to be getting money.
Yeah.
That you feel they should plan and make the right adjustments with. They should have an accountant. They should have an advisor. They should have an attorney.
Yes,
your
absolutely.
3 A's. What is the biggest mistake you think young athletes are making so far with their money?
I think a lot of it is around their spending habits, right? Spending habits and buying liabilities that, quite frankly, aren't going to sustain any type of wealth for them, or even starting businesses without any type of, clear indication that, it's structured the proper way, or it's a business that's worth them investing their capital into. NIL is their first real experience with any type of income. And so a lot of them see this as their way to, I gotta, buy the thing I never bought before, or I need to take that trip that I never, got the opportunity to take. So I see a lot of young athletes, not properly stowing away the right amount of money for taxes, right? We have a lot of student athletes who, don't understand that they are a 1099 contractor as an NIL athlete earning rev share from the respective universities. And so a lot of them are faced with the tax consequences when tax season arrives. And a lot of that is due to poor planning, right? So I see a mixture of just like poor planning and a lot of liabilities being purchased.
What's a real life instance you can give us real quick that you've seen athletes made in terms of a mistake that they made early on in their college career?
Yeah, a mistake that I seen, and I actually talked about this recently, but it was around Gervon Davis, right? Back in 2023, Gervon Davis was a standout football player for the University of Florida. As a result of him not having the right team around him, he signed what he thought was an NIL deal, but it actually was a advancement of funds for roughly like $436,000. And as a result of him, taking this advancement, inside of the contract was a clause that stated that that this company would earn 15% of his future NFL contract money for the next 25 years, right? That was the clause. And so what ended up happening is he was since drafted by the Chicago Bears, and with his first rookie deal, he was responsible for paying $1 million back to this company, which right now is going through some legal battle because he's trying to sue, alleging that the deal does not technically, it violates the state of Florida's sports agency and athletic laws rather that they have. So that was just a demonstration of like the value and power of like a team and having a good one to help prepare, athletes for situations like that or mitigate situations like that in the future. So that's a little extreme, but it's a reality for a lot of our student athletes out there.
Yeah, that's good because I like the fact that you were talking about the importance of a team. You go as far as a team takes you.
Yeah.
There's a lot of athletes, as you already know, like when they retire, they don't have any money. It's because they don't have the right people around them to be able to push things forward for like planning when they retire. If you could only give one rule for managing NIL income, what would that be?
One of the things I tell a lot of my athlete clients is, at courtside, is that you are a business, right? So treat it like one. Right. So a lot of athletes need to treat the NIL landscape like a business. Right. Don't treat it just as another check or some cash or a bonus. think of it as a springboard for your financial success, right? And so you want to really cultivate a strategy around where you want to go, what your goals are, what values you have, and how you can really set yourself up for financial success. I mean, we're seeing some athletes, right? I don't want to continue to make this all about what they're doing uh, from a from a lack of financial education, because we do have some athletes that are earning NIL that are doing what's most responsible with this money. I mean, we have the former standout forward from the University of North Carolina, Armando Bangkot. He took some of his NIL money and invested in a hotel in the city of North
Right,
Carolina
yeah, right. I remember because of his roommate, right?
because of his roommate's dad, who
Right.
was, essentially buying hotels and owned, a fair share of them. Armando had a solid team around him to say, "Hey, look, you need to go
This
use
is
your
something you should do.
use your
Right.
network there. Or your friend is giving you the opportunity to go and invest in a hotel, a very profitable hotel. We're not going to name it because they're
Of course
not
not.
giving us they're not cutting us a check to promote them,
we
but."
know the what, but you can't know the who.
Correct. You could do the research yourself, but it's just an example of like when those things, when it's done correctly, you can really
What it would look like.
use these funds to set your future up in a more meaningful and impactful way.
How should an athlete structure their first KNIL deal
Yeah,
to build long term wealth?
that is a unbelievable question, and to be completely honest, there's not a one shoe fit all approach to this. I think
Hmm.
the biggest point that I could make is to, you know, figure out what you want for yourself long term, right? So if you're thinking about your life, right, you got this opportunity to make 100 grand for the first time, right, ever. You may not be able to make another 100,000, or
You
you
got to
might
do
actually
something to
have
get
another
the
100,000
100
coming in, right? It just
if you do the right thing with the money.
if you do the right thing with the money. But like as I stated before, right? This is a springboard of opportunity for you to set yourself up. Number one rule before you do anything, to my student athletes: put the money aside for taxes. Put the money
They
aside
coming to
for
collect
taxes.
no matter what
Listen, Uncle Sam needs his. He need
every
his.
time.
Whether you want to give it to him or not, he's coming. He's coming,
Yeah.
right? And so I have to overemphasize that, right? You should be setting aside. I'm conservative with this piece, right? And feel free, this isn't financial advice. Make sure you go consult with your financial advisor or your tax professional to give you the proper allocation for it. But I'm very conservative in that I want to set aside anywhere between 30 to 40% of any earnings that come in, so that by the
Mm.
end of the year, we have a surplus in that tax account for the IRS or for the state or for your local municipality, right? We have 30, 40% of that's already set aside. So when that bill comes, we're able to just write the check and get the bill paid. So first things first, pay those taxes, right? Second thing is thinking about what you need from a liquidity perspective, right? So how much emergency savings do you actually have set aside, right? Don't look at what the rule of thumb is for most Americans, which is, they try to tell you to save 3 to 6% of your expenses. As I just stated previously, I'm more conservative than that. I want you to save 12 months of your expenses set aside in a liquid savings account, a high yield savings
Just in
account.
case anything
Just
happens.
in case anything happens, you have access to a pool of funds that you can quickly access. And again, that needs to be in high yield savings account so that you are earning some sort of interest on that money that you have sitting there, right? And so now that you've sort of saved money for taxes. Now that you've saved some money for taxes, you've saved some money for your emergency savings, right? Because the premise, if you're following me here, it's save, invest, spend, right? These are sort of three sort of categories we look at when we look at a person's financial picture. You're going to do one of the three: save, invest, or spend. And so the next piece is, in this space, I'm not going to just say, hey, save, invest, save, invest. No, we recognize that you have worked hard for this income and you do deserve the right
Want to
to
enjoy it a little
enjoy
bit.
it a little bit. So I'd say
Right.
take anywhere between 10 to 15% of that and actually stow it away for yourself to go have some fun, right? Go treat yourself for all the hard work that you put in to get to this point. And maybe you even want to treat your family member or your parents out to a dinner or something of that nature, just to show them their appreciation as well. So those would be some of the tips on what I think And I'll also add in before I close out this point, I would also say invest in yourself. If you know you want to, potentially get into buying real estate, or you're working with your financial advisor to come up with an investment management strategy, find a way to help educate yourself on these topics, because it's not about just finding the people around you to help you. You want to be self-sufficient enough where their advice is adding to what you know to kind of create a bigger picture for yourself from a financial perspective. So invest in yourself with some of that money is another final point that I would make on that.
I love those three because I know some might even give you a little bit of pushback, and I know this is just your perspective, but the 30 to 40% some athletes might feel is high to put away because of Uncle Sam.
Yeah.
And then also too, being able to understand that you have to, do those good things for yourself in terms of like that 10, 15% as well too. So I think that that's real good.
I want to say too that also investing in yourself is by hiring the right professional.
Right people, team,
The 18 advisor, accountant, attorney, right?
attorney.
Invest in yourself, because that 100K with the right foundation and the right team around you can help. That
Set
could
you
turn
up.
into $1 million, can turn into $10 million, but you have to have the right structure and foundation around you. So invest in yourself includes that. I just wanted to add that.
All right, bonus segment, man. A lot of people have a lot of thoughts about this, but do you actually need an LLC for your NIL deals?
Technically, no, right?
Mm.
But strategically, in almost all cases, right? And again, consult with your financial advisor for the strategy. Yes, right? And so you can absolutely sign NIL deals that you're personally liable for, right? And so, that's everything from taxes, any type of contractual agreements that you have to oblige by. And so setting an LLC up just gives you the flexibility from a liability perspective to protect what you're building, right? And it allows you to essentially, separate church and state is what I like to call it, right? Which is personal and business. Being able to separate the two is quite essential for your financial success in the long term. And it also opens the door for tax benefits, which is the huge portion of this, because you are able to write off business expenses that are tied directly to the brand and business itself. And the LLC also signals to brands that you're potentially working with that there is, potentially a professional aspect to your situation, which is this, very small step in helping curate more opportunity for yourself as a student athlete.
It's important, man. You got to have those right pieces and those right people around you to be able to make you stay successful.
1,000%.
All right, man. Definitely, man. Appreciate you
Yes.
giving us those tips.
Yes,
The Wealth
we'll be
Studio.
back. We'll be back. Tune in, y'all. Tune in. Make sure you are subscribed, right? It's under the What's Brewing Network. Make sure you go and subscribe to the channel so you can tap in on all of our future Wealth Studio segments. We will make it very informative as we've done today. Bring you some examples and ensure that you are able to walk away with something to change your current financial situation. And if you're an athlete out there, a student athlete, or a family member or someone associated with a student athlete, give us Courtside Wealth Partners a call. We're happy to kind of talk through your situation and help you come up with the right plan for financial success in your life.
Absolutely. And we'll make sure that all that information for Courtside Wealth Partners is right below as well in the link too.
Yes,
All right,
sir.
you guys. Stay tuned for the next one.
Peace.